So just doing those things alone, I lost around 20 or 25 pounds right before our wedding.
Once he brought fasting back. Okay. We going back to fasting. All right. Hi, I'm Chris James, and today we are going to be doing a reaction to Sauce Stache. All right. Now, for those who don't know Sauce Stache, he is a chef. He's a YouTuber who basically puts together these vegan concoctions. He'll do, meat made out of bananas or orange peels or all these kind of wild things. And I started following him a long time ago when I started my health and wellness journey, just looking for alternative ways to cook and, make certain foods. And I think his channel's great. It's not a health-based channel, so just keep that in mind. Like, there's a lot of stuff he makes that I wouldn't consider to be healthy, but it's fun. And if you're on a health journey where you're getting away from meat, let's say, then it gives you some alternatives. Anyway, over the past, I don't even know how long, 5 years or so, 6 years, whatever it's been, he has lost a tremendous amount of weight. If I'm not mistaken, 100 pounds. And so I've noticed that he lost a lot of weight. And I was and I was curious, like, how did he lose the weight? Because, I'm like, okay, he changed his diet. He's eating well, blah, blah, blah. Was that specifically what he did? Well, guess what? He put out a video and I figured I would react to it. So this is going to be my first reaction to Sauce Stache and his 100-pound weight loss journey. And I'm going to give my honest thoughts on how he approached it and everything. So I think this is going to be fun. Strap in. It's going to be a long one.
A lot of you have asked for this, so I'm gonna do my best because it's not an easy explanation. So in 2019, I was at almost my heaviest of my entire life. I'm pretty sure it was my heaviest. I was weighing in at 275 pounds. But at the time, I felt like I was eating fairly normal. Monica and I were eating similar meals, and you could see the difference in the size of us. But anyways, so Monica and I would go out to eat a lot. To be honest, like, we were eating at restaurants 3, 4, 5 nights a week. And if we weren't eating at restaurants, we were ordering in. Cooking at home, just, we got lazy with it. We were very busy with work and just like most people, but we just kind of let it go. And when I wasn't eating takeout, I was probably snacking on like the recipes that I was cooking here, the testing recipes, just constantly little bits of food. It never felt like I was eating too much, but realistically, it was probably the things that I was eating and the amount throughout the day. So to start my most recent weight loss, in early 2019, I got a brand deal from Noom.
Okay, he made a correction. So it was early 2021, he got his brand deal from Noom. Now, let me just say this before he gets started. Looking at him, I'm just going to make a prediction and say that he did not utilize the type of fasting we teach. I don't know if he used fasting or not. I have absolutely no idea. All I'm going to say is first of all, he doesn't look bad, okay? But looking at him, it doesn't look like he used the type of weight loss methods that we promote. Now, I'm going to say this too. We have our R72 challenge coming up. It's going to be launching October 15th. So if you guys are interested in losing 100 pounds and doing it in the most optimal way possible, in the shortest period of time possible, you want to start your health journey with AHA. We're going to be doing our R72 challenge, which is a rolling fast. You're gonna be able to lose anywhere from 20 to 35 pounds during that, and then we're gonna have our next 21-day challenge coming as we end the year. So lock in with us, and let's get back into this.
So I'm editing this back, and I just wanted to be clear that today's video is not sponsored by Noom. It's not sponsored by anybody. There's gonna be no sponsorships on today's video. Monica and I were engaged at the time, and we were about to be married, and I wanted to lose some weight before we got married. So I was pretty excited to try Noom, as I've tried a lot of diets in the past that just didn't really work. I cut carbs and lost a little bit of weight, but gained it back. I started exercising, but I wasn't exercising in a way for like enjoyment. People would talk about like these like highs that they would get from exercising, and I never got that. It never was a thing that I was able to accomplish. It felt like punishment almost. I even did extreme fasting, and at one point, a family member of mine got gastric bypass surgery, and I remember reading about it, just being really interested in it. not wanting to get the surgery, but I felt like the surgery restricted you from the amount of food that you ate, and I thought I could just do that myself. So I did that. And to be 100% honest, I lost a lot of weight. I got to the thinnest I ever had been at that point, but I wasn't being healthy, and I believe, I was never diagnosed, but I do believe, looking back at it, that I developed a pretty strong eating disorder.
Very, very interesting. So, first of all, I'm glad he mentioned fasting because that makes sense because this is a fasting channel. And how did he describe it? He said, I did extreme fasting. Now, maybe we'll find out what that means, but the way that he was losing weight when he showed the pictures of him doing the extreme fasting is in alignment with what we would see traditionally with weight loss, with the way that we fast. So hopefully he goes more into it. Maybe he does not, but it seems like he was turned off by fasting. Let's continue.
It was a little scary. It felt like punishment. Nothing ever felt good. It wasn't sustainable. It wasn't healthy. And again, I lost all the weight, but I gained it all back. There was no true lifestyle change there. So that being said, obviously this recent weight loss that I've experienced isn't my first, but it feels very, very different. Now, I was always a pretty big guy. I was even pretty chubby as a kid. I remember in 1988, I was playing midget football and I was 7 years old. And I want to say that I was around 80 to 90 pounds. And I believe at the time, the weight limit for that league was 90 pounds. Now, I would have to strip down to my underwear in front of the refs and coaches and my dad and get on a scale and make sure that I didn't weigh too much and I could play the game. And I remember how much that really sucked. That really was not fun. Now, to be honest, besides that, I don't have a lot of memories of me thinking about my weight or like weight loss growing up. It's just always kind of felt like a part of me. I've always been called big man. It's just felt like who I was. People would say I was big boned, you know. I think it became part of my character. But I didn't.
That is a very important point, right? So when you've had weight on you your entire life, or even just as an adult, or for just a significant portion of your life, it starts to become a part of your character. It starts to become a part of who you believe yourself to be. And that is one of the obstacles a lot of people have to overcome when it comes to weight loss, because they identify as being overweight. And society is partly to blame for this, because we come up with these different things. Hey, big man, oh, you're a teddy bear, you're featherly plump, you know, big boned. We come up with these phrases and this terminology, and we almost, I've talked about this before, we glorify it, right? Especially when it comes to like the whole body positivity movement. Like, we glorify it, and now it becomes a part of you, and it's like you know you're unhealthy, you know you don't feel good, but also you don't want to give up your identity. So that's a very interesting point.
I didn't think about it in a healthy way. I didn't think about it in a way that slowed me down, but it did always bum me out being the fat kid in high school and growing up and not feeling accepted the same way for being fat. And even starting social media and reading the comments of being fat. It's a tough thing. It's not easy. So in the mid 2000s, through my 20s, I moved to Florida on my own. I probably weighed around 250 pounds. I would say that was my average. My weight would fluctuate, but 230 to 260 was pretty much where I was always at, mostly on the 260 side of things. I wore a size 44 to 46 jeans. I remember I was always bummed going clothes shopping and not being able to find the pants that I wanted to wear. And then a friend of mine went vegetarian to lose weight as a diet. And I thought that sounded interesting. It seemed right. It seemed like it made sense. So I tried it out for a few weeks and I started losing a little bit of weight. And I felt better. And me being who I am personally, I went 100% in and I went plant-based, all plant-based. And I lost a lot of weight. Again, I wasn't doing it in the healthiest way. I didn't look at it in the right way. I was restricting the amount of foods I was eating. I was restricting foods I was eating in general. Yes, I was plant-based. Yes, I was losing all this weight, but I wasn't doing it very smart. Now, I started working out again, going to the gym at that time.
Okay, so he makes a good point here, right? And I mentioned this earlier. So his channel is not like a health channel or anything of that nature. When you want to switch your diet, it's very easy to fall into this this vegan kind of lifestyle where it's like more vegan junk food. Me and the friends and the coaches, we call it slutty vegan. Shout out to slutty vegan from ATL. So you want to keep that type of stuff to a minimum when you're looking to boost health. Now, if you're just in it because you're, like a vegan and you don't want to eat animal products, that's different. But if you're looking for any level of health, or you have a desire to lose weight and things of that nature, you want to keep that to an absolute minimum. Let's see what else he's got.
I started kayaking, which I really loved being outside. I still hated going to the gym. I'll never forget the day that I got on the scale and I hit 199 pounds. That lasted one day. I fluctuated between 200 and 215 pounds for a long time after that. But again, I really started getting sick of the gym. I stopped going, life changed, started eating out more, and the weight slowly kind of came back on, to where eventually in around 2016 is when Monica and I started dating, and I was probably around 230 pounds. And I never really maintained that weight. I just kind of slowly allowed it to kind of build back on until the 275 pounds in 2019. So I started...
Okay, let me say this. I don't have any issue with working out, exercise, of anything like that. It's good, okay? So I want to make sure you guys understand that. I'm all for it. But when it comes to the gym, specifically the gym, one of the things I used to say back in the day is that there's no gyms in nature. And this is important to understand because the gym is a human construct. We have very lazy lives for whatever, for our conveniences, cars and cell phones and remotes for the TV, and all our convenience make us very lazy. So it's easy for us to gain weight, especially considering that we eat a lot of processed food. So our lifestyle has developed a need for the gym, but it wouldn't have ever existed in the past. The only people that probably would have went to a gym would have been like warriors and performers and, things of that nature. So because our daily habits are not farming the land and actually being active, we have to go out of our way to do this. He mentioned he liked to kayak and different things of that nature. If you don't like going to the gym, which a lot of people don't, it's better to build lifestyle around certain activities that you do enjoy. That way, when you're actually exercising, number one, is they're very natural exercises and natural movements. And also, you don't have to feel like you're going to the gym. So picking up a sport is obviously a good idea. Kayaking, playing tennis, playing basketball, those sorts of things combined with the healthy diet and lifestyle are going to help you to get, athletically toned and whatever. And it's going to happen slower, but it's going to happen more seamlessly. So just a little tip.
And I really got into the articles. I love reading things and just kind of learning facts. That's just who I am. I always talk about the one fact about like serving sizes changing throughout the years. If you were to finish a plate of pasta at a restaurant in 1999 versus finishing a plate of pasta at a restaurant in 2020, it's going to be a completely different meal, like thousands of calories more. And, like that, those things like stuck with me. So that article and a few other articles like that kind of got me to scale back my portion sizes just a little bit. I wasn't making like a drastic change like I always did in the past. I wasn't going like full force, I have to do this now. I really I wanted to just be good to myself, probably for the first time in a long time.
Listen, I'm gonna let it run, but this is a very good point. He mentioned earlier that he basically had a 0 to 100 personality, and that can always be detrimental when it comes to this type of stuff. 0 to 100 is a great power, but you have to be able to maintain, be consistent, and you got to learn how to reel it back when you need to, because a lot of times 0 to 100 personalities, people get very frustrated with themselves if they don't do everything exactly right or to the max. And balance is always important. So it sounds like in his journey, he started to learn balance, and that's when things start to change.
And it started working. Started to see some weight loss. So I started paying a little bit more attention to how much I was eating, what I was eating, and when I was eating. Those three things seemed to be the biggest thing. And I just made minor differences. I wouldn't finish my plate. I would plate the whole meal and maybe I would save some of it for later. I wouldn't eat late. I wouldn't snack on things at night. Like I just felt like I had enough for the day and I would stop snacking. Was never like a big soda guy. I didn't drink a lot of soda, but I did drink it from time to time. And I decided to just stop. And now I just drink water and coffee, a lot of it. But my coffee, I drink black. So that was another shift that I made years ago. So just doing those things alone I lost around 20 or 25 pounds right before our wedding. And I felt great. I was feeling better. Monica and I got married. I felt good about myself for losing that weight and without doing anything really drastic, no huge changes. Now, I maintained that weight for about a year. Nothing really changed. I would lose a little, maybe gain a little bit back, but for the most part, I kept right there. It felt like I actually changed my life a little bit, like it was a complete lifestyle change for the good. Now, the one thing I don't talk about a lot is I suffered from pretty horrible acid reflux and bloating. I talked to my doctors a lot about it, and they would always blame it on eating habits and my weight. They would say, if you lose the weight, you're gonna lose the acid reflux. I heard that a lot, multiple doctors. This is something that I dealt with for around 7 years, saw multiple doctors about it, multiple tests. Nobody ever really had a good conclusion. Now, I was put on an extremely high dose of a drug called omeprazole, which is a PPI. It's a proton pump inhibitor. It stops the amount of acid that goes into your stomach. And while I was taking that, it didn't really ever seem to do anything. The doctor said I still had to watch my diet, I had to watch what I ate, I would be taking this PPI, it wouldn't work, they would tell me to take more. I was actually on double the dose of the highest recommended dosage from the manufacturer. And I felt awful, like I felt really bad. If you've ever read any of the side effects from taking PPIs or omeprazoles or high dose of PPIs, I experienced all of them. Now, at the time I went back to the doctor, I explained these weren't working, they weren't doing anything. She told me I had to lose the weight. And that's when she brought up intermittent fasting.
Okay, before we get into the intermittent fasting, once he brought fasting back. Okay, we going back to fasting. All right. Obviously, when it comes to lifestyle change, that's when you're going to see your biggest. You're going to get the biggest results. It's going to feel the most consistent. You're going to feel the best about yourself, which he did talk about, right? Now, when you go to your traditional doctors, remember that their goal is to treat symptoms, okay? And how do they treat symptoms? They do that with medication. So they're always going to be looking for a medication. I don't think this should be the first approach, but this is what we see, right? Even to the point where they had him on twice the amount of medication that was recommended, which there's a recommendation for a reason. It wasn't working at the maximum dosage. It's not going to work at twice the dosage because it doesn't work. It's not resolving core issues. So it looks like he got in touch with somebody new who gave him a little bit better information. I don't know. Let's not jump the gun. Let's see what his intermittent fasting was like.
The next day I started intermittent fasting along with Noom, kind of diving really back into that again. Within a few weeks, I started to see a pretty big difference. I was losing the weight. And this time I was losing the weight and I actually felt good. I started feeling better. Not the acid reflux, but just like energy. I was getting more energy than I really have ever had before. And it didn't feel like suffering. It didn't feel like I was putting myself through something to lose the weight. It felt like I was doing something. It was active. It felt like a good change. One weekend while Monica was away at her parents', I was flipping through Netflix and I came across a documentary on Netflix called Stache. I started watching it and I think I only got through the first 15 minutes, maybe. But the doctor said something immediately that kind of stuck with me. He said you have to work to be happy and you have to work on your mind, which is being creative, having like an outlet. And I felt like I did that. And he said you have to work on your friendships and your relationships. And I felt like I was doing that. I have a good core group of friends. Then he said you have to work on your health to be healthy and happy. And you have to actually like work at it. And I didn't really feel like I was doing that. I felt like I was eating better, but I wasn't being very active beyond, what I thought was active was I was mowing the lawn on the weekends and doing like a lot of heavy yard work. It was a lot of work. And I would take Walker on walks most nights a week. But that realistically wasn't enough. Now, when Monica and I first started dating, she was doing yoga pretty much every day. And she actually had a yoga blog. She was really into it. That's what inspired the Stache channel. That's what inspired me to do YouTube, was her doing this yoga blog. But over time, we both got busy with work and just got busy with life and things happened and we both kind of just gave up being as active as we were at one point. Monica stopped.
Let me make this point because what he's describing is extremely normal and I think you guys need to know this. When you start your health and wellness journey, you're excited, you're ready to rock and roll, you're doing things, you're making moves. Now, when you get your life in alignment with the friends and your family, your health and wellness, maybe even your finances, your job, you start to make more money, you start to spend more money, you start to eat more, you start to take more trips, you start to spend a little bit more extravagantly. Your lifestyle starts to change slowly but surely. I see this happen all of the time. And what happens is it gets away from you slowly but surely. So what I have had to do is be active about making sure to bring that thing back under thumb, my lifestyle, bring it back under thumb. As I've mentioned to you all many times, you know, when I get really busy, it's easy to DoorDash. And you look for, you know, you click the healthy button with the salad, but like it's really hard to find a good salad. Like it's hard. So at the end of the day, you end up eating foods that aren't the greatest for you, and you just get into a habit, a rut. And it's important to check in with yourself on a regular basis. How do you feel? You know, how's your body changing? You know, keep a track of your weight. And then that way, because inevitably when this happens, as your life starts to improve, your lifestyle starts to improve, you eat more, you're less active. And this is how you kind of maintain, by staying actively aware of how you feel and what you're doing, and then make changes when you see yourself getting out of alignment.
Doing yoga, I stopped kayaking or doing any sorts of like gym things. But what the documentary said really had me thinking, and I never felt like I would do yoga in my life. It never seemed like anything that was interesting to me, but I thought it'd be something great that Monica and I could do together, which might inspire me to do it more. And so when she got home from her parents that weekend, I asked her if she wanted to start doing yoga again, and she said yes. And it's really funny because the very first class that we went to was at Orlando Power Yoga here in Orlando. It's a hot yoga class, and if you've ever done anything like that, it's 110 degrees in the class, and you're doing yoga, but you're doing a very vigorous yoga. You're moving throughout the whole thing. Dudes that look like they belong in Marvel movies as like stunt doubles were falling to the ground, and I did the same thing. Like I did not make it through the class. But oddly enough, I kind of fell in love with it. And we started doing it a few times a week. Now, along with that, we started doing just like a really nice, like non-hot, regular yoga flow class at Firefly Yoga, which is ran by Monica's friend Holly, and that's fantastic. There's like a meditative sense to it that I've never really felt before. I kind of fell in love with yoga. But I also wanted to add some more cardio to that. And I started thinking of ways of things that I could do outside. I used to love kayaking outside, but it just wasn't something I could do regularly, almost daily. So a good friend of mine asked me to do a 5K with him and suggested I start the Couch to 5K app. Thanks, Beckett. Started the Couch to 5K app, went through the entire program. I think it was 8 weeks. Within the 8 weeks, I was running a 5K. And for me, it blew my mind because I couldn't run from my house to the stop sign at the end of my street, which is only maybe 100 feet, without being completely winded. I don't think I could run for longer than a minute at a time, and here I was running for, 28 minutes, 30 minutes straight, no problem, and feeling like I could just keep going. It blew my mind. I mean, it really did. So
Let me say something. That is impressive, okay? I'm proud of you, man. I think that this is a really interesting story. And what I really, I love that sense of accomplishment because, look, I can't run for 30 minutes straight. Not right now. You know what I mean? So am I capable of it? Sure. But like not being able to do it, not really knowing if I'm capable, then doing it, that's got to feel amazing. It looks like he did quite a bit of exercise on his journey. And I think that's part of the reason why his results look a little different from what we would traditionally see with our method. I think that, okay, he was doing a lot of hot yoga and obviously sweating a lot, losing a lot of, minerals, losing a lot of that good water, and he drinks coffee. So what I saw at the very beginning of this was cellular dehydration. Once again, he does not look bad. I'm not saying he looks bad, but what I'm saying is, if he was working with us, I would have promoted more hydration, maybe potentially getting rid of the coffee, potentially, maybe, I don't know his exercise routine or anything of that nature. It feels like he did a lot of exercising. And what I like to promote is let's get the weight off first, not all of it. He don't got to lose all 100 pounds. But if you're 100 pounds overweight, I'm usually going to tell you lose at least 50 pounds just with dietary strategy, proper eating, things of that nature. Get that weight off before you start putting that additional impact on your body. And then, you could start doing the gym, but I would still tell you, keep it light. You know what I mean? Maybe high reps, low weight type vibe, but stay hydrated. So we're talking juice, we're talking smoothies, and we're talking either raw food or just eating a lot of like fresh produce.
I added in the yoga and the running and the intermittent fasting. I never really felt better, and the weight just really started kind of melting off. There wasn't a point in this where I felt like I was like dieting. There wasn't a point in this where I felt like I was being restrictive. It didn't feel like torture this time. It didn't feel like something that was restrictive or I was taking things away from myself. It felt good. It felt like I was adding. I was changing my life in a way that felt sustainable for the first time. Now, I'll be honest, the summer has been brutally hot. I'm not running as much as I was. I was running 3 miles every other day, and that has just slowed way down. I haven't done it as much, but I'm not beating myself up. I'm excited for fall to happen. It's started to get a little cooler lately, so I've been actually getting out a lot more, and I'm gonna eventually get back into the every other day thing once fall hits. In that meantime, I added a few other things, started doing like more push-ups. I'm doing pull-ups and chin-ups, and I've never been able to do one of those before in my life. I actually did like the monkey bars, the overhead ladder. I did that for the first time in my entire life. I've never been able to do that. And it's just, I don't know, I can't describe how good this feels. Now, Monica and I are eating at home more now than we ever have. We stopped eating out almost entirely. We've limited it to maybe once a week. It's been fun cooking at home a lot more. Now, you see me cooking on the channel, that always burnt me out cooking at home. But now we're like food prepping, we're going to the grocery store on Sundays, and we're just making just simple dishes, really clean dishes and things that can be made quickly, and it's been fantastic. I'm still watching my portion sizes. That hasn't changed. I'm still intermittent fasting. My schedule is 12 to 7 p.m. I try to like push it sometimes, like 12:30 to 6:30, but I'm also not incredibly strict on myself. I give myself a lot of grace. I've realized that's the thing, is just kind of living my life and making the change and turning it into a habit versus forcing it as like rules.
Very, very good point, man. Like that, once again, going back to that 0 to 100 mentality, you don't want to force things. It needs to be organic, it needs to feel natural, and it needs to be sustainable. Looks like he's got about a 7-hour window for himself on his intermittent fasting. That was something I was definitely interested in. I think this is pretty much concluding. I thought this was an excellent review of, a health and wellness journey and the real ups and downs that you experience. But over time, he was able to lose 100 pounds. And I think, like I said, he looks incredible. I love the fact that he feels better. And ultimately, I like that he feels like what he's doing is more lifestyle versus a diet or a regimen he's using specifically to lose 100 pounds, right? Like, I don't know if this was ever his goal to lose 100 pounds, if he wants to lose more weight, or he has goals, but his lifestyle is just supporting the body, making him look and feel healthier, which is exactly how you guys want to do it. Listen, if you guys are interested in joining us in our R72 challenge, please feel free, hit the link. I'll probably have it in the description and in the comment sections for you. We're going to be starting that up soon. It's 30 days. We're going to be able to put you right on track, tell you exactly what you need to do, how you need to do it in order to get the results. Very similar to his, if not better. And that is not shade, y'all. I'm telling you, that is not. I am extremely proud of you, Stache. As a matter of fact, I'd love to have you on the show just to dig more into your journey and get some more details. I think will be helpful for people. But overall, this was amazing. This was a nice little surprise for me. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to hit the thumbs up button if you want to see more videos like this. Subscribe, and as always, the application of knowledge is power. And I will see you all next time.